Hello, it is Mr. Ranieri here, and we're going to learn how to use curl to make HTTP requests and see the HTTP headers. So, HTTP is what powers the web. Whenever you request a web page like google.com, it sends that request through HTTP. And curl is a tool that lets you make your own HTTP requests. For example, I can do curl mrranieri.com to make a request to mrranieri.com. To be a proper URL, you can see why it's called curl, right? It's got URL in the name. I should put the protocol, which I'm going to just use HTTP. So I'm going to make a request to mrranieri.com with curl. And let's see how it responds. It responds with, this is the server response. It says this site has moved permanently. Okay, well, where has it moved to? Although this is the server response, there's actually another part of the server response, some extra information, which is the headers. Let's see if we can see the headers. Usually we don't need the headers, but let's have a look. We can get extra information by adding this -v for verbose, and that will give us more information. We want verbose information, lots of information. Let's try that. Ooh, this is better. Heaps of information. So I can see that these arrows here show that this is the request that I sent to mrranieri.com. mrranieri.com is located at that address, that IP address. I'm using port 80 because plain HTTP is port 80. And in the request, I requested the particular page, web page I was looking for, which was just / the main page. I sent a header called host, which was the website that I want. And I sent the user agent header, which is the web browser that I'm using. I'm using a pretty boring web browser called curl. It's still a web browser, even if it's on the command line. So it sends the name of my browser and the version I'm using. You can imagine if you're using Google Chrome, it'll say you're using Google Chrome and send that to the server. And another header too, request header. And then here, these arrows show the server response. There's the header part of the response, and there's the actual body of the response. So the server replied with this status saying 301, which apparently means moved permanently, forever, different location now. There's another server header called server, where it says the software that the server is using. The server decided to send the date, because why not, as a header. So there's another header with what the type of the content is down here. But here's the header that I'm interested in. There's a header called location. So because it is a moved permanently redirect, a 301 redirect, it says the next request I should make to get the actual page. You can imagine web browsers do this automatically. Let's do this by hand. Web pages will automatically see that location and redirect to that one. Let's see if we can get, the secure version. There it is. There is mrranieri.com in all its beautiful glory. I'll just press enter to get a new line here so that I start on the new line. It's a bit hard to read that. If I want to look through it for something, it probably makes sense for me to save it to a file. And I've covered it in a previous video, but the way that we can save something to a file is with redirection. I do an arrow like this, a greater than symbol, and then I say the file that I want to save it to. Maybe I'll save it to coolsite.html because it is a cool site. Let's download it again to run it again. If I wanted to read through that, I could cat coolsite to see what it is. Notice that I use tab to autocomplete. There it is. If I wanted to look for something inside there, I could pipe that into a command like grep to search for something. So I could pipe that into grep to look for dirty, for example, and that would give me all the lines that contain the word dirty. You could also, if you really wanted to, save that to a file, dirtylines.txt, for example. So this will read that and then pipe that into the command called grep, looking for dirty, and then save that in a file called, I'll read that, dirtylines.txt. But, piping, redirection, that's not what this video is about. This video is about making HTTP requests and headers and seeing all that secret information that gets sent through the headers. You can send your own request headers, of course. You might notice, if I go back to that previous example, Yeah, there's a good example. That it sent these 3 headers. I could add an extra one. Why not? To show how you might use that in a practical sense. Maybe I might try to get debian.org. That's a website. Empty. Maybe it's www.debian.org. There we go. So there's the website. The website itself doesn't really matter. But I could add an extra heading. I'll put it in verbose mode again, just so you can see the headers. And I'll do hyphen H to add an extra header. The name of this header will be accept language. And the value would be Deutsch. DE. Let's try that. Ja, das ist gut. You can see that the server changes its response depending on that request header. If I scroll up to what was sent, scroll up. Is this it? Yeah, okay, there we go. So, curl sent in its request to the server, it sent these headers, and one of the headers was accept language, the value was DE, and then that changed what the server replied. All right, well, maybe, is there anything else that I need to show you? Actually, you know what? I think that's pretty much it. You can add extra headers, you can see the request headers, you can see the server response headers. Obviously, there are lots of different accept languages we could put. Cool. So I hope that has been helpful in seeing how you can make a request using curl, see what is actually sent across the internet when you visit a web page, see how redirects work, and see the headers that both go out to the web server and come back to you in the response to the client. Ask questions, good luck with the challenges, and I'll see you next time. Bye everyone.